Hope everyone's doing great today. Hold on a second. Just turning off my phone. Here we go. I'm back live after a little bit of break, a little bit of work, sickness, and everything all at once happening. But finally, back to the fray. I had to actually move my stream from yesterday. We might actually have to change the Thursday 1 p.m. streams to some other time, but I'll let you guys know as soon as possible when that's happening and whatnot. It's just interfering with some of my other commitments that I have gotten over time, and yeah, just gonna need to move it to some other time, because as you guys probably have seen, I've missed a couple of last streams, mostly due to conflict of time, and yeah, and the earlier ones from September till October was just sick as dog, dude. It was just sick, super sick. Today, what I'm doing today, I'm just gonna talk, maybe cover some topics. I actually have an interesting topic to cover that I've mentioned before on the stream, and I think it's a good one to talk about. And in the meantime, there's this little sketching thing that I've recorded a while back that I'm just gonna play, and you guys can watch it. And yeah, we'll do that. We will do that. At any time, at any point, you feel like you have a question, just ask. Just ask. I'll try to answer. I'll just sip my coffee in this amazing mug that I have here. I wonder where this mug is coming from. Some beautiful place on the internet. Anyways, a little tired. This is an early morning for me. 10:30. No, I'm joking. Having kids make you tired all the time. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about a topic of, I've mentioned this topic on my art cafe, I believe, and I wanted to sort of like elaborate on it and maybe make it a focus of the stream. And the topic is about creative blocks and sort of like what to do when you feel like there is nothing you want to do. You feel like you don't want to create any art. Maybe you've done a lot, maybe you've done not so much, but you feel like, man, I don't know what to start, what image to create. I don't feel like I have inspiration to do it. Any of those things. Or just simply you're tired and you know, maybe you're doing work and literally you don't want to do anything else. So every single one of us go through that. Now, question is, what do you do when that happens? What are you gonna do when, when you sit down and let's say you see some cool pictures, and like most of us, most of the artists, you want to be like, fuck, I want to make something cool, and then your second thought is overpowering and saying, yeah, but I don't want to do that. I want to go and play games or watch TV or whatever that would be. I think every single one of us goes through that. And even outside of creative work, like if you're not an artist and you're working in, a regular job, you're going to a store, maybe you're a clerk, anything like that, it's very sort of, unless you love that job, then, not saying anything bad, but it's probably the most boring thing you can do, just being like a cashier or something like that. I did work my regular job, first share of regular jobs myself, and to me it was boring as fuck. Like I wanted to poke my eyes out and throw them away. But yeah, I'm going off topic. Anyways, yeah, I mean, all of us will go through that moment where you're like, fuck, I don't really want to create anything new. And maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm overworked. Like, there's many reasons for that to happen. And yeah, I'll talk from experience, because all of us go through it, including myself. And I think I had the longest rot I've ever had in my career. Like, looking back at my last 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, I felt like I haven't done shit. And, maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on myself or something, but there's certain things that come along with it. There's a topic of failure that I want to cover when it comes to that. There's also topic of overworking and trying not to get overworked. And finally, topic of what are you supposed to do when you get to that point where you are overworked, or you're just simply tired, or maybe, something's going on with your life or professional life, whatever that would be, that makes you not want to do anything outside of that. And you feel like shit, like, oh, I don't want to do anything anymore, and everyone is moving on and progressing, and I'm in a standstill. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, let's go with that. So I'll start with maybe with the overwork topic. So what happens is, and some of you guys might relate to it, some of you guys might not. I'll try to sort of make it as relatable to you as possible. But let's say, there's different scenarios, right? One is you're working with clients and you're taking too much work on yourself, and you find yourself with not enough time, like personal time. And and you get too many commitments, and then what happens is you're under stress all the time, and because you're committing yourself to deliver on time, to deliver the quality that is expected, and you don't want to disappoint anyone along the way. I mean, that's the professional approach you should have when it comes to client work. But if you overcommit to too much work, then what happens is, you just run out of time, and oftentimes, we decide to forego sleeping, and maybe our eating habits change to something worse. If you're working out or having any activities, like physical activities, you might decide, like, oh, I'm literally don't want to do that, because I'm it's either I'm gonna go to the gym or go for a run or a walk, or get that another sketch for my client. So I'll stop you right there. If you ever in that situation, don't do that. Like, don't decide to forego your physical health over getting like an extra sketch. The reality is, what's gonna happen is you're gonna be fucking way less productive at the end of the day, because being overworked, what makes it very difficult in this business is if you're overworked, you're not thinking straight. And if you're not thinking straight, especially if you need to create something interesting for a client that is not like your regular, bread and butter, that might become an issue. You might be working on a sketch, you're gonna send it out, it's gonna look like shit, or you're gonna send out something that is not that exciting creatively, and you might lose opportunities along the way. I've done that before. I've overcommitted to work many times, and I had to grind through it, like fucking days and nights. think my longest streak of working like a madman, like taking 2 or 3 projects, was 2 months or 3 months straight. I mean, you can do it for 2 weeks, I would say, maybe 3 weeks. Outside of that, fuck off, don't do that. But that's assuming, like, all of that is assuming you have a power to actually take that many works. You might have enough experience, or your work is good enough so that the clients reach out and you just want to do as much as you can. For most of us, the reality would be you might be working on a project and you might have studies, you might be going to university or whatever that is, or have a regular job as well, alongside with that, just to pay the bills. So what to do when, let's say, you have a 9 to 5 job, or you have a 10-hour shift every day, and you're fucking tired, and then you come home and you want to do some art. Like, that's another scenario where you're just tired from regular work and you literally have no energy to do anything else. Now, all of that also comes down to your age. If you're, let's say, a young guy or a girl, if you're in your early 20s, or maybe even younger than that, it's going to be so much easier. I'll tell you that. When I was 25, 24, even like 23, I started pretty late. I think I started when I was 22 or 23. It's considered late in this industry these days, guys. But yeah, if you're in your 20s, you have a lot of energy. I'll tell you that right away. If you get past 30 something, you will start to see the difference. Like, you'll see how many things you cannot do anymore over time compared to what you were able to do just a couple of years ago, and it's depressing as fuck. Because, like, these days, I cannot take more than one commitment. Like, it's just impossible for me. It just makes things so hard. And I'm getting tired quicker. I don't want to sound like a fucking old fart. I'm not even that old at all. I'm like in my mid-30s. But yeah, you start to see the difference. You start to notice the difference. So, but anyways, let's say you come back from work and you have your 9 to 5. You get stuck in the traffic for an hour, and then you got only a little bit of time left in the day, and you still want to do something. Like, what to do then? So that's the second scenario where you're just tired from that, and you might not have creative like a creative power to do anything else outside of your regular work. That's the most likely scenario. And then there are moments where, like, you might be overworked from having too much work or working your other job. What might also happen is just, like, over time you lose interest in things. Maybe you just get jaded. Maybe you're just not inspired. And there's just many reasons for which you might find yourself not willing to do any painting. And again, as I mentioned, I've been in that rut myself many times, and I think recently even more. It kind of feels weird and funny because with Learn Squared, as we started this endeavor, it was all about learning. It is still, and like exploring and making those new things. And you guys can tell by the courses we release that we always want to be hitting the mark when it comes to quality, but also like what makes sense in the industry, and what is working right now, and what you can do to improve your art and your tools arsenal and your thinking processes, all of those things. So I'm still about that. However, you sometimes hit the wall. And yeah, for me that happened. That happened. Rain, thanks for subscription. Anyways, so I'll tell you what I did, because I feel like I'm getting out of it. Finally, I feel like I'm getting out of it. So first thing first, any positive habits that you have in your life that you ever decide to forego because like, oh, I have so-and-so to do, so therefore I cannot go for a walk that I usually do to keep myself healthy, or I cannot go for a run, or, cannot go to the gym, jiu-jitsu, whatever that would be, right? Don't do that. If you're already, having active, if you're already active physically, stay active physically, because what you will notice very quickly, that can happen if you get sick, or if you are overworked. You will notice that the moment you stop working out or being active physically, that's the moment where your productivity levels gonna plummet and go down really quickly. It seems like, hey, I have extra time that I can spend doing that work for client. It seems like a productive approach, but really it isn't. It's probably the worst thing you can do to your productivity. My first project for the film that I worked on, that haven't been released yet, which makes me sad because I feel like that's my best work that I've ever done. But anyways, the first project that I've done, back then, I don't have time to do that anymore. I try to stay active physically, but back then I used to go to the gym every fucking day. Like every day for an hour or so, at least 4 or 5 times a week, and then have, a break. And on those breaks, I would have maybe go for a run or something. And then I got this project I got really excited about, and I was still working at Naughty Dog. And it's like, I can go to the gym, or I can do that sketch. And I decided to do that sketch, and do it for 2 months straight. And after those 2 months, I was burned out. I didn't want to do anything. Also, I felt like shit. And towards the end, I felt like my ideas are getting worse. So there's obviously a dopamine, not dopamine, the endorphins that are being created or generated. I know I am not a biologist to answer this correctly, so don't take my word. But there's definitely, the endorphin